Archangel Michael says, I order you to open this right now. A shocking deal is made behind your back. 30 minutes left and you're the target. Open it immediately. The air shifted before you even realized the storm was forming, an invisible tremor passing through dimensions, brushing against the back of your neck like the breath of something ancient, awakening. It started with something small, a forgotten detail, a subtle pull in your gut, a dream you couldn't remember but felt like a warning tattooed into your soul. And then came the silence, the kind that hums unnaturally between moments, where even time feels cautious to move. You weren't supposed to find this. But you were chosen to feel it. The energy around you began to blur, like heat rising off desert stones, and the ground beneath your life cracked with truths no longer content to remain buried. A spiritual transaction was made in the shadows, a trade involving your destiny, and you were not even in the room. But you were the currency. Archangel Michael says, the seal was broken when no one was looking, and now the scent of betrayal rises like smoke from a temple burned from the inside. The light in your life dimmed not from failure, but from interference, spiritual sabotage cloaked as coincidence. The clock has already begun, and your name glows in the dark like a target painted by unseen fingers. God says, you have always been watched. But now you are being hunted. And what was meant to empower you has been rerouted, stolen mid-flight, redirected into the hands of something ravenous. You felt it in the strange delays, the missed connections, the opportunities that died just before blooming. These were not accidents. These were orchestrations. At the edge of your spirit, something screams without a mouth. A spiritual scream, soundless, ancient, endless. It echoes now through your bones as the real reason for your restlessness rises like oil through water. You are under attack, and the ones orchestrating it wear familiar faces. Not all betrayals come from enemies. Some come wearing borrowed halos. There is a chamber in the spiritual realm, drenched in violet fire, where names are recorded and manipulated. Your name was taken there in secret. A deal was made in that place, and its echo has started to unravel the seams of your peace. You were not supposed to know. But now, the veil is too thin to hide it. Archangel Michael says, I was present when your name flickered. I saw the hands that reached for it. I saw the whisper passed between entities who should never have spoken. I sounded the alarm in heaven, but the message took time to reach you. Now you must move. You must understand what is at stake. There is a reason you feel disconnected from yourself lately, as if someone else is wearing your skin and living slightly off course from your real timeline. That dislocation is the result of interference. The spiritual equivalent of hacking a soul. It began when your consent was bypassed. When they drew your energy into a deal designed to deplete, not elevate. And yet, you were marked for greatness before the first cell of your body formed. Your light is dangerous to the agenda of darkness. That's why it was targeted. They could not destroy it outright, so they tried to mimic it, reroute it, conceal it beneath doubt. But the light remembers. And now the light is waking up inside you again. The moon trembled behind torn clouds last night, did you notice? Nature responded before your mind could. The sky knows when justice begins to stir. And now the world around you reacts to the rising force preparing to intervene. There is a convergence coming. And the countdown to it has already begun. The pain you felt recently was not random. It was pressure building beneath the surface of your story. Every denied opportunity, every delayed victory, every false friend, these were symptoms. Now, the cause is becoming visible. The door has cracked open, and what was hidden begins to leak through. God says, I never turned from you. I have been watching the sabotage unfold, waiting for the moment you would look up, not in confusion, but in holy rage. You are not weak. You are not forgotten. You are about to become something terrifying to the forces that thought they had you. The betrayal was spiritual before it was personal. It was cosmic before it was human. The faces involved may wear skin, but their hands are puppeted by darker things. And they thought you would sleep through it all. But something in your soul refused sedation. Archangel Michael says, I sounded the sword against the gate. The ripple is already in motion. The next 30 minutes in the spirit realm will determine whether this deal consumes your birthright, or if you rise to claim it back in fire. There is still time. But not much. What's coming is not punishment, it is revelation. What breaks will break to reveal. What burns will burn to purify. But the moment to act is now. The heavens lean close, and even the stars pause their dance, waiting to see if you will step forward or remain frozen. There is no neutrality in what comes next. Either you rise into divine alignment or sink beneath borrowed chains. The trap has been baited. The hour has cracked. And now your next breath becomes prophecy. The second hand on the divine clock twitches, barely audible, but each click pulses like a thunderclap in the spirit. Behind the veil where flesh cannot go, a table stands, a cold obsidian altar soaked in unspoken treason. And on it, your name still smolders, scorched into the parchment of forbidden dealings, sealed with silence and cloaked in holy mimicry. You were not consulted. You were not invited. But you were offered as collateral in a covenant made without your voice. A shadow pact was inked by entities who smile in daylight and slit destinies at dusk. They used your lineage, your gifts, and your delay against you. And the worst part? Someone close enough to touch helped them gain access. The betrayal runs deeper than human choice. It reaches into generational alignments, sacred oaths that were meant to guard you but were manipulated through time, twisted into spiritual loopholes. They bypassed heaven's chain of command through deception, embedding your light into something that drains you daily. That's why you've been feeling fatigue that sleep cannot cure. That's why clarity slips through your fingers like sand soaked in oil. God says, I never authorized the trade. But I watched it unfold to expose the wolves who wear robes soaked in stolen light. The deal they struck has consequences now spiraling out of their control. And your awakening is their unraveling. Beneath your everyday movements, an ancient clock tower ticks beneath the surface of your soul. You've heard it in your bones, especially at night. You felt it as a tremor behind the eyes, a restlessness that no medicine soothes. That's the sound of heaven preparing for a reversal. But first, everything hidden must come screaming into the light. Archangel Michael says, the sword is drawn, and your bloodline is being summoned into review. They thought they could delay you long enough for your purpose to expire unnoticed. But they forgot you were born of fire, not fear. And the fire remembers. There is no silence in the spiritual realm right now. There is only collision. Forces are clashing around your name, angelic warriors and infernal tacticians both locked in an invisible war for your becoming. You are not passive in this. Your yes or your no will determine the outcome. Neutrality is no longer a shield, it is surrender. They tried to bury you under paperwork, distractions, cycles of grief that repeat like cursed clockwork. But now the pattern is cracking. What they designed to hold you in delay is becoming the very evidence that convicts them. The covenant is unraveling because your soul has begun to scream. The serpent that slithered into your timeline is being dragged by the throat into divine court. That voice you heard in your dreams, the one warning you, shaking you, urging you not to go back to that place, that person, that pattern, it was not imagination. It was intelligence from the throne, coded into symbols only your spirit could understand. You've been here before, on the edge of breakthrough, on the edge of collapse. But this time is not like the last. This time, the stakes are cosmic. You are not just fighting for yourself. You are standing at the collision point of generations, holding a flame meant to purge decades of compromise. God says, the time for silence is over. I have stirred the heavens to bring war on your behalf. I have summoned fire where they tried to summon chains. Your yes will open the floodgates of restitution. Your resistance will trigger their ruin. They called it alignment. But the truth is, they called your name into a circle of spiritual manipulation and tried to paint it as divine. And now the circle cracks. You have been upgraded in spirit, and their grip cannot hold you anymore. Archangel Michael says, they will feel your release like lightning across glass. They will know the moment you awaken fully, because the balance of power will tilt. They thought you were delayed, but you were being armored. You were being infused with judgment disguised as grace. Beneath your skin is a roar building. It is not rage, it is remembrance. The truth of who you were before the world taught you to shrink. The truth of what you were meant to become before others handed you roles dipped in decay. That truth is shedding its skin now, and what's emerging will not be ignored. The time trick they used, counting on your confusion, banking on your hesitation, has failed. The 30-minute window they tried to hide inside has become a countdown to divine exposure. Every choice from here will echo through timelines. Every delay now feeds the enemy. You must decide. You must move. There is a shaking in the heavens. The glass between worlds is thinning. You may have thought this was about a job, a relationship, an opportunity missed. But it was always about this, a collision of kingdoms, and your soul the key between them. What you felt tugging on your heart wasn't just anxiety, it was an angelic interruption. A divine override. A holy siren screaming through your bones that what's been set in motion cannot be ignored. You are not losing your mind. You are regaining your authority. The covenant was broken, not by your hand, but by theirs. And now the rupture they caused has summoned an ancient justice that answers only to the throne. The sky is watching. The earth is groaning. And time is collapsing into a single door flung open by fire. Walk through it. The moment has arrived, and the spiritual air around you thickens like storm-soaked smoke. Time has begun to bleed. There is no more waiting, no more later, no more illusion of distance between cause and consequence. The hourglass didn't just run out, it shattered, and the sand within now burns like ash set ablaze by divine flame. You stand in the epicenter of it all, soul raw, heart pounding, as if something inside you remembers a war you've never been told about, but always felt. The veil is not just thin now, it is torn, gaping wide like a wound in reality, exposing what was never meant for mortal eyes. Behind it, celestial battle cries echo as winged forces crash against serpentine strongholds. Your name, your bloodline, your very breath has become a battleground, and heaven will not allow what was stolen to remain hidden. You are no longer just a target. You are the trigger. God says, this is the hour where hidden chains break loud. This is where the silence they cursed you with shatters like stained glass under judgment. They wanted you asleep while they fed on your light, but now your awakening floods every corner of their plans with unrelenting fire. You felt it, your senses heightening, your dreams shifting, strange flashes of clarity cutting through mundane moments. These are not coincidences. These are cracks in the stronghold. Signals. Codes. Divine signals sent ahead of the storm. The Spirit is raising a signal fire in your bones, and what answers it is not gentle, it is holy and armed for war. Archangel Michael says, I stand armed in your atmosphere. I am not at peace. I have waited at the edge of the breach for the exact second your soul would catch fire and remember. That second is now. I wield the sword not of mercy, but of justice, for what they did, for what they dared, for who they tried to erase. The spiritual architecture around you begins to twist. What was hidden behind false opportunity and counterfeit peace is being torn apart. Every, almost, they trapped you in, every delay sown with false promises, now unravels like a serpent shedding its skin. You are seeing with eyes cleared by fire. And what you see can no longer be unseen. The betrayal was personal. But the war is divine. This is no longer just about what was done to you, this is about what must now be done through you. Your voice is no longer a whisper trapped in hesitation. It is a command. And the powers that mocked you now hear it like thunder rolling through their shadows. You've noticed people falling away. Patterns dissolving. Old crutches snapping. This isn't collapse. This is clearing. Heaven is making room. What you thought was abandonment was strategy, God removing liabilities from your next chapter. Anyone tied to the deal made in your name has been spiritually evicted from your story. Let them go. God says, I burned their signatures off the stolen scroll. I reclaimed what was twisted, and I will now amplify what they tried to contain. They marked you for spiritual exile. I marked you for supernatural elevation. The signs are loud now. Time bends around your obedience. The more you move in divine rhythm, the faster things align. But delays will now hurt more deeply. The cost of disobedience in this hour is no longer just discomfort, it is derailment. You are in the threshold. Do not look back. Archangel Michael says, you are surrounded by witnesses in the spirit, some cheering, some trembling. The ones who sold you out hoped you would never stand. They knew that if you ever truly saw yourself in divine fullness, the power they built on your silence would collapse. That moment is here. The sand of the hourglass now forms into something living, angelic particles ignited with intention. The countdown has transformed into a directive. What comes next is not passive. It is not symbolic. The fire is literal in the spirit. What they bound now burns. What they manipulated now turns on them. There will be exposure. In the days ahead, names will rise to the surface. Secrets will split open. Hidden alliances will rot in daylight. Do not fear this. It is heaven answering your cries not with comfort, but with confrontation. The era of quiet suffering is over. The roar has begun. The realm around you is trembling. Not in chaos, but in preparation. The sky has split above your life, and the light that pours through it is not soft, it is surgical. Every lie, every trap, every web they spun is now illuminated by sacred incision. You are no longer the hunted. You are the sword. You were never too late. You were being forged. Every delay was a divine furnace, heating your spirit to withstand this hour. Now, you are flame-wrapped, heaven-sealed, and spiritually weaponized. Your very existence is a contradiction to every curse they cast. You were the prophecy they couldn't silence. This fire will not destroy you, it will define you. But it will destroy everything built on your stolen identity. You will feel it, the dreams dying in others as your purpose activates. Not everyone will survive your awakening. Not every connection will endure this fire. Let it all burn. God says, I will rebuild you with no fingerprints of those who violated your spirit. I will send wind through your ruins and raise you in clarity they cannot counterfeit. Your tears are not weakness, they are water for the new soil. There is thunder in your belly now. Your breath carries vibration. Even your silence rattles chains in the spirit realm. They are afraid, because you're no longer afraid. You are in sync with heaven now, and the world will respond in kind, through shaking, through testing, through undeniable, irrevocable shift. The clock has not struck zero. It has struck you.